been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a
It was a peaceful morning and you were wrapped up in your warm blanket, lost in a beautiful sleep. The sun had barely crept through the curtains. You were dreaming about having a luxurious life in Paris away from workload and fatigue. Just as you were about to sip from a chilled coconut drink in your dream, a sudden cold splash hit your face. Who could be behind this except one and only Jimin, your annoying little brother? Oops, whoosh, he said, jumping on the floor as if he was a small kid. You jerked awake, gasping as you glared at Jimin, who blew you a hose to make you more pissed off. Your eyes were flew open now as icy water dropping down on your cheeks, and it also soaked your pillow. What the hell is this? You screeched, shooting him a stare, but it made him laugh. Jimin looked at your wet face while holding an empty glass with a more smug grin on his face. Good morning, my sunshine, he said, smirking. You groaned and rubbed your soaked face with your sleeve. Jimina, what's your problem? You asked. My dear sister, you are getting late for work. Do you even remember that today you have a small party at Yacht in the success of your boss cracking a big deal? He said, making a pout. I do remember, but throwing water on someone to wake them up is not normal. You blinked in a disbelief. Well, for me, it's normal. I have nothing to do with your opinion, he said, crossing his arms over his chest. You could have just wake me up like any other normal person, or you could knock at the door, or you could simply shook or tap my shoulder. You growled. I did that, but you were in hibernation mode. I even poked you with spoon, but no reaction. That's why I had to do that, he said casually, as if drenching his sister was some period feat. You glared at his face as you quickly grabbed your pillow and launched it at him, and it successfully hit his head, which made you smirk. I will not let you go so easily, you said, and went to the bathroom to brush your teeth. Hey, you will thank me later when you get to work in time, won't she? He chuckled, leaning casually against bathroom door frame. You groaned, making him smirk, plus a little water won't hurt anyone, he exclaimed. You narrowed your eyes as you stuck your head out of the bathroom while toothbrush in your hand. Oh, really? Well, next time when you will be snoring like a bear, don't be surprised if I wake up you up by dumping a bucket of ice on your head, you said, hitting him on his shoulder. Oh, you are so annoying, he said, and stormed out of your room. You were done doing the brush as you took a quick shower and walked back to your bedroom. Today was not just any regular work day, cause it was a yard party which your cold boss Jungkook was throwing. As he cracked the huge deal, you walked to the wardrobe. As you opened it and glanced at the dresses carefully, your eyes fell on an elegant crimson dress. It was tight fitted with an off-shoulder backlund. You quickly slipped into it as the dress were in all the right places that flared slightly as it reached your knees. You leave your hair open and adding a right amount of makeup to highlight your eyes and lips without overdoing it. Slipping up on a pair of red strappy heels, you gave yourself one last look. You grabbed your clutch and left for your time skip. Arriving at Marina, you could see the luxurious yacht anchored by the dock. Its sleek white hull was gleaming in the afternoon sun. The guests were already boarding, laughing and sipping the drink as the soft music was playing in the background. Taking a deep breath, you made your way toward the yacht. As you ascended the stairs and stepped into a yard, the conversation of people halted in mid sentence and had turned towards you as if you came from another planet. Everyone was looking at you with admiring eyes as you were looking breathtaking. You scanned the deck, your eyes fell on your boss Jungkook, who was in the middle of chatting with a few department heads. Jungkook's kiss landed on your face and he got frozen. For a moment he seemed complete at a loss of words. His dark eyes wizened slightly and he blinked as if to make sure that he was not imagining the things. Jungkook was staring at you with his mouth slyly opened, his usual polished demure faltering. As you gracefully made your way across the deck, suddenly in view his Jungkook's manager came to you. Lee Yan, you look absolutely stunning today, he said, looking at you from top to bottom, his voice full of enthusiasm. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Yunmu. You also look handsome, you said, smiling, the corner of your eyes crinkling. I gotta go now. Mr. Jungkook must need something you enjoy, pretty lady, he said, winking at you. You smiled and walked to your friend Daisy, who just arrived at the party. Hey, Daisy, you said. Oh my, you look out of this planet, Vayani. The way everyone's staring at you, it feels like you are an officially a queen of this yacht. She said, handling your drink. Stop it, you also look amusing. You said. Yeah, but no one's getting look like you are, she said with a teasing smirk. Did you look at Mr. Jungkook? See how he's glancing at you time to time, afraid he will drop his way if he kept staring at you like that. Stop goofing off, she said, taking a sip of drink. You both are talking and laughing to each other when Felix, your colleague, came to you holding a rose flower in his hand. This rose flower is for the girl who looks like a rose this time. A beautiful rose. He said, smiling widely at you. Oh, this is sweet of you, but Vayani doesn't like someone. She said, rolling her eyes at him. Hey, don't get me wrong, it's just for our friendship. I want Vayan to be my friend. He said, smiling, I'm sorry, Felix, but I already have friends. You replied. Jungkook spoke. I was having conversation with my friends, then my eyes fell on Secretary Y and she is looking breathtaking tonight. I will have to agree, but why she is standing with other employees? I felt like she was with him and got irritated the way she was smiling at him. I was lost in my own thoughts when my client said, Mr. Jungkook, isn't she your secretary, Lee Ryan? She's pretty and hard working, he said, and I noticed, still looking at both of them. Well, I wonder if she has a boyfriend, he said, looking at my face as if wanting me to tell him. He would. I know. I guess she has the one. I mean, look at her. How one can let her remain? He said as the second one nodded with a pout. We will end the party here. I have an important meeting in half an hour, so we gotta leave. I said, and they both nodded. I fetched out my mobile phone from the pocket and dialed Secretary Ryan's number. I looked at her as she fetched out her mobile phone from the clutch and glanced at the caller ID. Her eyes widened in a shock as if she saw a ghost number. Like, seriously? Hello, Secretary Ryan, in my car right now, I said coldly and cut the call before she could utter some words. At her spove, Jungkook walked towards his car and you followed him from behind. As you reached his car, the driver opened the car door for you and you sat in. Your eyes widened when you saw Jungkook plopping down on the seat next to you. Mr. Jungkook, weren't you supposed to sit on the front seat? You said, trying to maintain some distance. Why, do you have any objection? He asked and raised his eyebrows while staring at you. You coughed dramatically, looking outside the car window. No, sir, I think I should sit on the front seat. You said, trying to unbuckle your seat belt. Just sit here silently, Miss Ryan. He said in his cold voice, making you gulp down. There was a complete silence in the car for a moment, and then Jung spoke out. Miss Ryan, stop. You crunched your eyebrows and looked at him shocked. I think you are mistaken, you said. Mr. Jungkook, I never met someone. I was just talking to Felix, nothing else. You replied sadly, I want you to focus on your work only. He said and let out a sigh. After 15 minutes, finally you reached the office. Follow me to my cabin, he said, walking briskly towards his cabin. You nodded, running behind him in high heels. What is the status about the deal with A&S Sons Group? He asked, sitting on his chair. I will get it done as soon as possible. You said hesitantly, okay, get everything ready in 15 minutes. He said, opening the file. 15 minutes? Isn't it too less? You asked, confused, looking at his face. It's not my headache, Secretary Ryan. Just go and get it ready. He said coldly. You nodded and walked outside his cabin. You reached your desk and started arranging the file. Oh, why he's so rude. You thought and continued arranging everything. Exactly the 15 minutes passed. Your phone rang. It was from Jungkook. You answered the call while typing on your laptop. Hello, sir. Secretary Ryan, come to my cabin right now. He said and cut the call. You rushed towards his cabin and knocked at the door. You stepped in after I gave you permission. Fortunately, you had completed arranging. You placed the files on his table and bowed down at him. Mr. Jungkook, I have arranged everything. I hope you like it too. You said, giving him a light smile. Secretary Ryan, impressive. He said, biting his lower lip. Thank you, sir. You said, bowing down again. Now go and work on other file. He said, you nodded and rushed towards your cabin. You started to work on your laptop. It was around 9 o'clock when everybody in the office had left except you, and you were still working on your laptop. You were working on the last file. You were almost done. As you submitting it to Jungkook, you got up, shut down your laptop and walked to his cabin to show him a file so he could check it for errors. You knocked at the door and entered in after he gave you permission. Mr. Jungkook, I'm done preparing the last file. You said, placing it on his table. Oh, that's great. I didn't think you will be still working, he said, forcing a smile. Yes, Mr. Jungkook, you said, bowing down at him. As you took few steps, Jungkook called you from behind. Miss Ryan, it's too late. I will drop you home, he said, getting up from the chair. No, Mr. Jungkook, I will go myself. You don't need to worry. You said, are you sure? He asked. As you reached outside the office, you saw Jimin waiting for you in a car, which made you frown. You came here to pick me up? You asked, running to his car window. As you sneaked inside it, Jungkook was looking at you from distance. No, who is this guy? He thought in his mind. It was getting late, so I decided to pick you up. He said, smiling at you. Ah, when you became so caring, brother. She said to that guy, wait, what? But why she didn't tell me? Does she really have my wait, Jungkook? You had nothing to do with this. I shouldn't need to bother, he thought to himself and sat in his car leaving for his house. Time skipped. The next morning. You were standing in front of the dressing table doing a makeup while Jimin was eating the chips. You glared at Jimin when you saw him throwing the fifth pack of chips on the floor. Hey, I told you to clean my room and stop eating my chips. You said, glaring at him. Ah, I will clean it later, and sharing is caring, he said, eating the chips. You have almost eaten my everything, not you to share it with me, you said, looking at him through the mirror. Aren't you getting late for the office now? He asked, giving you a cheeky smile. You glanced at the wall clock and your eyes got wider. As you were literally getting late for the office, you wore your high heels and rushed to the outside the house. Reaching the office, you quickly collected the files from your desk and went to his cabin. As you knocked at the door and he let you come in. Good morning, Mr. Jungkook, you both. Of 1 minute and 15 seconds late, Miss Ryan, he said, glaring at you. I'm sorry, Mr. Jungkook, you said, looking down. Miss Ryan, who was the guy last night who came to pick you up? He asked nervously. Last night? Oh, it was my brother Jimin. Actually, it was too late, so he came to pick me up. You said, forcing a smile. Oh, I see, he said. You may go now, he said. You nodded and walked outside. It was around 1 p.m. and you were preparing for the meeting which will be happening at Star Hotel with his Paris clients. You were analyzing everything so he couldn't find any error. Right now you were heading towards his cabin. As it was meeting time, as soon as you reached there, you saw him coming out of his cabin. You bowed down at him as he nodded and then you followed him outside to his car. You were really regretting wearing high heels. He was walking fastly to reach his car and your legs were hurting. Reaching the car, you both plopped inside as you both headed towards the restaurant where the meeting was going to held. You both were gonna have lunch with them cause it was a lunch time. As you both reached the restaurant, Jungkook got off the car and followed by you, he headed to the inside. You both took your seats. As the client had not arrived yet, there was a silence between both of you until Jungkook spoke out. Secretary, why are you ignoring me? Is it because I asked you about your friend? He asked. No, you didn't ask about him. Well, Mr. Jungkook, I don't have any boyfriend. You said as you knew this was the question he wanted to ask you. He sighed in a relief which made you frown. Oh, I see, he said casually, if this news didn't make him feel over the moon. There was again a silence between both of you. Soon the clients arrived. You and Jungkook greeted them. Jungkook shook his hand with them and you bowed to them, and after that everyone took their seats. Soon Jungkook started the meeting and told them about the benefits of working in his company. The clients looked satisfied as they nodded their heads, and soon the waiter came along with the food tray as he served the food and left. You looked at the mouth-watering food and your stomach started to make weird noises, and it was heard by your boss because he was sitting right beside you. The food is getting cold. I think we should have it first, he said, and they all nodded, making you sigh in a relief. Jungkook looked at you and he noticed that you were not putting the food in your plate due to shyness. Quickly grabbed the plate and putting a food in your plate, he placed it in front of you. Miss Ryan, please have food, he said, gesturing you to start. Time skip Ryan's poor. We were back in the office as I headed to my workplace to prepare for the next meeting, which will be happening in half an hour. I was preparing the file which will certain the detail about the meeting he's gonna attend after some time. Once I was done, I got up and rushed to his cabin. But then I saw him already leaving for the meeting room. I quickly rushed behind him. But then suddenly I felt something weird. I rushed to the bathroom. As I locked it, I realized that it was broken and I had no other option. I tried to fix it somehow but couldn't. I was already getting late for the meeting, so I let it go. Thinking that won't be visible, I went to the meeting room. I knocked at my door and plopped down on the seat next to Mr. Jungkook. Think- Thankfully, it was not noticed by someone. After some time, the meeting ended as Jungkook greeted his clients. They left. It was only me and Mr. Jungkook left in the meeting room. I was about to leave the room when Mr. Jungkook held my hand and walked towards me. My heartbeat raced faster. I mumbled with my red face. Then what compelled you to attend the meeting like this? He asked. I'm sorry, Mr. Jungkook, I said. No, you don't need to be sorry, Mrs. Jin.